All right, I'd like to go back to the agenda. It's open of a public hearing regarding Gribbons Lane per KRS 178.070, petition of the discontinuance of a road. The petition was filed by Tucker Family Farms LLC requesting closure of Gribbons Road. Is there anybody here to speak on behalf of the Tucker LLC?
Yes, I am. By way of introduction, I think all of you know me. I'm Elmer George. I represent Tucker Family Farms. Your Honor, members of the Fiscal Court, first I'd like to ask what notices that were sent out prior to tonight's hearing on that?
We sent those out to...
There was notice sent to the Lebanon Enterprise, and then the parties that were that live by the road were sent notice.
So it was an Enterprise?
Yes, it was. That was on paper. Yes.
And then, is there a written report by the county engineer or road?
We've got two viewers.
They have a written report,
Mr. Adel had submitted just a...
I just want to keep a side to it, and I wrote a report and invited my opinion, and I went out and inspected the property and the road and everything.
I mean, I had called for one. I'd like to have seen it before tonight, so I can get a little bit better prepared. Can I see it before we start?
Yeah, sure. It's right. Mr. Adel, you got a copy of it?
I got a copy of the report.
And you're the one that signed off on it? Yes. You, I guess later after I give my presentation, I can ask questions because he has an opinion and no facts to back it up. Let me give you a little history if I may. Ellie Gribbons once owned all the land in question. And when I say all the land in question, I'm talking about the house that Greg and Debbie live in, as well as the 500 plus acres that Mr. Tucker Family Farms owns at this time. Mr. Gribbons had bought this property in the early 1900s. About in the 1940s, his son Felix Gribbons acquired title to the property. It stayed in Felix Gribbons' name until his death, and then in 1983, after he passed away, the farm was conveyed to Tom Tucker, who later, after doing some estate planning, put it into Tucker Family Farms. That was in 1983, 1984, it was deeded to Tucker Family Farms. The farm, which consisted, as I said, several hundred acres, was conveyed off, but the will provided that Felix Gribbons' wife had a right to live in the house that Greg and Debbie live in for their lifetime. The house was sold later to Mr. Purdom, I believe in 1998. And then in 1999, it was sold to Greg and Debbie, who live there now. They've been there 20 years. In the packet which I've given all of you, you'll see that there is a copy of Greg and Debbie's deed that shows that they've had title for 20 years. You'll see the distinguishment of easements in there. And the reason I filed that, number one, you need to know who lives back there and how many people live back there under Kentucky law and whether or not there's any public use for this particular road, a public purpose. So, in order to prove our case, I want to at least have something in the record. And I'll ask you, to let all these documents be introduced as an exhibit for Tucker Family Farms. So we know that the Rileys have lived there since 1999. If you look at the distinguishment of the easements, you'll notice in there, when Mr. Akers prepared those, that it spoke of the time, the date, deed book and page numbers when Tom Tucker first bought the property and about it being conveyed into Tucker Family Farms. So what you get from that particular document is know that the Tuckers have had that property since 1983. It's 36 years ago, okay? Now, what's important, and I'll ask you to look at this chart here, okay? This chart right here. And the reason I had this chart graphed is you'll see where Highway 337 is, and I'm sure all of you are familiar with it. And then you'll see where you come across, there's a cattle guard, which is what prompted every bit of this to start out with. And then you'll see what goes on down, and here you see the Rally House, okay? Now, this is Gribbons Lane that goes this way. But off of Gribbons Lane, you see that goes up to the Rally House, is an easement that Greg and Debbie have across the Tucker property. So they have an easement off of Gribbons Lane that takes them into their home. They got .77 acres. And I wanted you all to see this because you need to understand that the road goes back this way, and it leads straight to the Tucker farm. And what it tells you, and I've got records from Catfish's office, there's only two people that own land back there. There's the Tucker family farm and the Rileys. And I'll get to that in a few minutes. I brought from Catfish's office to substantiate our position that, if I get a little closer, if you don't mind, this is a map that came from the PBA office. Over here in this corner, you can see where Highway 337 is, okay? Then you see that red line that crosses through here.
Yes, can we see that?
Goes all the way back here. That's the Gribbons Road.
If you don't mind.
See right here? This red line is Gribbons Road.
Okay.
Right here is the Riley House. Now, I've got this map, and I've got a Google map that you all have. That the Google map has an arrow where the Riley's house is. Now, I point this out to you because both of these maps, one time, the Gribbons have owned all this property in here, every bit of it, and they had it for over 100 years.
Jeez.
Now, this was an error made by the fiscal court decades ago. And when I say an error by the fiscal court, the law in Kentucky is pretty clear. You just can't put a county road to go back to one person's house. Any county road, KRS 178 says it has to be for a public purpose. It has to be for a purpose that the general public is going to actually use that road. And we've got plenty of roads in the county where the public doesn't use them. And you're maintaining them and spending taxpayers' dollars, but you don't have to, but you inherited this problem because it's been around a long time. And what they did years ago is they took all this land that belonged to him, they put that county road back there. It shouldn't have. This county road, and I know the Rileys will agree, and I know that he'll agree, it only serves as ingress and egress, entering and leaving the Tucker family farm and the Riley property. This road doesn't serve any public purpose. The public has no reason to use this road. And because the public has no reason to use it and doesn't use it, it really has to be discontinued under Kentucky law. It's real clear, and I've got some case law that I put in those folders for you that I think after tonight you're going to have to take your time and read them so you'll understand where I'm coming from. I'm not here to be a tell-it-all, try to tell you how to do your job. But we spent hours doing research. And the research clearly points out that you cannot have a road that serves private interest. It has to serve the interest of the public. Now, what kind of road do we have? Pretty clear. The road we have is 1 mile long, right off 337, single lane, one-lane road. It dead ends at the Tucker Farm. It is not used by the public at all. This road is used by the Riley family, and they have every right to use it now, and after I get through, they'll still have every right, because I have a solution to two problems that you're facing. It also serves Tucker Family Farms. Tom uses it in his work camps. It doesn't serve any purpose for anybody in the public. Nobody's going to get off. There's no reason for anybody in the public to exit Highway 337.
But they can.
Huh?
But they can. If it's a public road, they can, if they can.
We're not supposed to have a county road that doesn't serve a public purpose.
But I mean, it is, public can go back there if they want to. If they just want to go back there and enjoy the scenery, they can go back there.
Do
At
they,
this point,
At this point,
the problem with that, Larry, is when you have a road and you're maintaining it with taxpayers' dollars, it's got to be for real use that they need, like traveling from this end of the county road to the other end to get to a store, and where two cars can travel. The county, years ago, decades ago, basically, and I don't know why, but they gave Mr. Gribben's a road they shouldn't have. And it only served one person.
He probably had requested it, probably. I'm just saying.
Back in the day, they did those things, but really they weren't supposed to. I mean, that's just the way it went. But my point I'm trying to make to you, the case law is pretty clear, and I'm going to ask you, not tonight, because it's going to take you some time to go through this, because we did considerable research. But I have an Attorney General's opinion that was issued in 1993, and we shepherdized this thing. We checked all the cases mentioned, and all the cases were still good law. And in this case, which ironically was requested, the opinion was requested by my cousin up in Woodford County, the first thing it says down here at the bottom, where a road has been designated as a county road to serve essentially for the ingress and egress to private property, it does not serve a public purpose and must be discontinued as a county road. What we have here is a road that serves a private property. It serves the Riley family, and we're not here to hurt the Rileys, because they're still going to be able to get in and out. But it serves the Riley family, and it serves the private property of the Tucker Family Farm. It doesn't serve the public in any way. Not at all. And it says it must be discontinued as a county road. If later, if this is what you deem that you want to do, you read through this, you'll see there's other statements in here where they have other cases, and it talks about, and these cases were used to support this opinion from the Attorney General's office, that you cannot have a county road to serve private interest. It's got to serve the public's interest. Now, I understand, Larry, what you're saying about the public can ride down there, but there's no reason to ride down there. They want to see the scenery. They can see it from Highway 337 or anywhere in the county. You can't establish a road, just let somebody ride back there and look at the scenery or look at somebody's property.
is there a cul-de-sac at the end of that road? Okay.
There's another case I had in 1956, and it's in your file there tonight. Under statutes providing procedures for closing county roads, inconvenience is a determining factor as concerns right to close county roads. What you have to do is you go to the next page in determining whether road may be established or discontinued. The public convenience must be consulted. Public convenience, not the inconvenience of Mr. Tucker, and not the inconvenience of the Riley family. It's whether or not the general public outside these two private individuals has been in any way inconvenienced the public. The public is not going to be inconvenienced in any way if this road is discontinued as a county road. And, you know, this has been a standing law in Kentucky for, I know, more than 75 years. Then I have another case in there where a fiscal court got sued. And you'll notice in that first document I showed you, in every case the fiscal court in those cases all got sued, and they all got reversed for making a decision not to close the road, or discontinue it as a county road. They got sued, and they got reversed. The appellate court said the county fiscal courts did the wrong thing. And in this case, the Walker case, it talks about two farms, two owners back there. And then if you read that case, it speaks about what inconvenience it would be to the public. And it also points out that two years in the county road engineer, I understand, the only ones you appointed was two individuals, not the county road engineer, were to report what inconvenience, if any, would result from officially closing the road. We're not talking about whether you can sell the property. We're not talking about whether or not you can mortgage the property. What we're talking about, what inconvenience the public would have if this road is closed. And that's what they have to consider in their report, and they have to give a factual basis to back up any opinion that they have. In this case, they talked about the fact that the property the road wasn't even being used by the public. And the appellate court said if the public doesn't use the road for a particular purpose, then the county road had to be discontinued. And then I gave you one last thing here in terms of the law that came out of KRS chapter 178. I've got it kind of highlighted at the bottom of the page. It says the same thing I've been saying repeatedly, that, and this may be an avenue for you all to eliminate some more problems in the future with roads that really should be closed and save the county thousands of dollars of taxpayers' money by closing roads that are not being used by the public or for a public purpose. No postal service goes back on this road. Garbage trucks don't go back on the travel this road. No one travels this road except Mr. Tucker or his farm people or the rallies. And they're not going to be inconvenienced. The case law provides that you have to make sure that the rallies and the Tuckers have reasonable access to the highway, and that road will be there. My suggestion is going to be very simple. Discontinue the road so you don't have to spend any taxpayers' dollars in the future to maintain it. Since Mr. Tucker owns on both sides of the road, it will revert back to him, but give the rallies an easement across it, and Mr. Tucker will maintain the road. Now, it doesn't hurt Greg and Debbie, they're friends of mine. Greg is saying his dad and I were very close, and his mother. They have an easement off the Gribbins Road across this property now. Give them an easement across the road on the Gribbins Road, they still get in and out. The whole thing that they need, both sides, parties, owners, is to be able to get in and be able to get out. And that's what this road will continue to serve.
If I have an easement forever, even if they sell the property?
Yeah, what you gotta do is give them an easement forever. You give them an easement forever. You know, where I live, part of that's an old county road. I mean, the old county road used to come up through there, cross down, go down to Jimmy Hughes, and go out there on Provost Lane. But they'd have an easement forever, is what I'm talking about. They wouldn't be hurt in any way.
Wouldn't be hurt in any way.
No way at all, and he would maintain the road, and he carried umbrella insurance, liability insurance, if any problem comes up.
What happens if something happens to Mr. Tucker? I mean, nobody's gonna live forever.
I know, I found that out last year, I'm lucky to be here.
Exactly.
You know that, but, the thing of
Who
it is,
maintains it
if you
then?
need that, if he has ownership of the road, it'll stay there, but if you give a perpetual easement to the rallies or anybody the rallies sell the house to, it'll stay there forever.
But who's gonna maintain it?
Agreement on that you'll maintain the road, or?
Yeah, well, we would be agreeable that you have your county attorney draft a deed to Mr. Tucker and make the Rowleys a party to it, deed the property with him, and one of the stipulations in it would be that they would have a perpetual easement, it would be forever. They'll continue to be able to use it to enter and leave the property, and he'll maintain it, and he'd be bound by it. He'd be bound, he probably would be more bound than you all have, because that road was really not until 2 or 3 years ago. You spent some money blacktopping it, there's been nothing done on it for years. Now let me tell you something that the reason I said earlier, this may be a solution to your all's problem. And don't hold us against this. You know, we have a lawsuit now currently against Fiscal Court. And the reason we have that lawsuit, it's real simple. When Tom got notice that you were going to take up the cattle guard he wanted him to, he obviously had a concern because there's a mile of road going back through there. It would cost $45,000 to $50,000 to build a fence to go back there. And when he builds that fence, he'd have to build it back off this county road in order to get his farm equipment back there. By altering the road under KRS 178-110, when you alter the road and make these changes like this, it amounts to condemnation, which is one of the bases of the lawsuit that I have against the Fiscal Court at this time, is because if you require, or that cattle guard comes up, and then those cattle either run wild out there and end up on the highway, or if it's required to him put a fence in, he's out about 45 to 50 grand. But in addition, his damages would be really the diminution in the fair market value of his farm as a result of the lack of a fence, or having to put the fence up and not being able to use all that land for grazing purposes, which is what he does. His cattle, he moves them field to field. But there's something else that would be a part of our lawsuit. Right now, obviously, and some of you have been out there, I know, he can take his big equipment back there without any problems. If he has to put a fence up, the fence is going to be well off the road. That's going to cut the use of his place as a farm because he loses that grazing ground. It actually affects the fair market value. If this road is discontinued, that lawsuit will be dismissed and everything's over with. And I'm not using that except to tell you we can solve two problems tonight. It takes care of your idea or someone's idea about removing the cattle guard. Okay? It takes care of that lawsuit. And what it does more than anything, it keeps the Rowleys in the same position they're in today, and will stay in that position, and it keeps Tom in his position, and the road can be used. It won't affect selling the property back there. No, it won't affect anybody getting a mortgage back there. It's kind of like having your own private road where you can get in and get out.
Do the Brownies feel comfortable with this idea, or?
I don't know, but if you look at the case law, it's not the inconvenience of an individual. It's the inconvenience it may give the public. It's all about the public. And I'll tell you why it's about the public. You all have a job I wouldn't want. You have a job of taking taxpayers' dollars and spending it wisely and spending it the right way. And in this case, you don't need to spend the taxpayers' dollars, and you don't need to continue with this road and continue maintaining this road. You don't have to worry about if there's snow out there, because really, if you maintain it as a county road, snow problem, they got a right to call, say, remove it. I mean, when you look over in the long run, what it's going to save the county in tax dollars, and what it should have been saving the county for years, it's like you said, years ago, somebody wanted a road, they built a
Probably had
road.
a school bus going down it back in the days and things, it's been used.
There's no school bus that goes, there's nothing going back there anymore.
But
It's kind of like, if you read these cases, Judge, it's where one time maybe some of these roads had to be there, but as time goes on and times change, because here's the thing, out there where Greg lives and Debbie, Tom owns everything around it. And I can tell you now, he doesn't intend to sell any of it. And it's not gonna hurt them, and he doesn't wanna hurt the Rowlands, they're friends of his. They do some work for him, or Greg does. He just wants to try to end the problem out there and get rid of that other headache lawsuit we filed, because that's gonna be expensive to the county, it's gonna be expensive to him, because he knows I want more than a breakfast at Stacy Ann's, so he's gonna have to pay me some money.
Let me ask you a question.
And I'm just cutting up about that.
I'd like to ask the Rileys what their thought.
Ask me
Or-
anything
They
you
have an
want.
opportunity.
We're
Oh, okay.
gonna get to that, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. And, I thank you, and it's been a long day, and I appreciate you putting up with it. I had to leave for Bowling Green this morning about 7:30, and it's too many hours for an old man. And I'd like to have the opportunity to question anybody that does speak, to at least reply if they could. So again, thanks to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
We've got a couple viewers here again, Mr. Adel and Mr. Gary Luce are here to report what they viewed when they went out there and looked at the property. Mr. Adel, you want to go first and give us your thoughts?
Well, I consider, if you give them an easement, is it still a legal address? Because you can't have a house back there without having a legal access to it, you know. No states or country does that. They have to have a road to it that's legal.
Yes, well, nothing changes about the address, nothing changes about anything. They've already got one easement across his farm to get to their house. It would just be an easement from their house all the way to Highway 337.
Physical address, I think, like the post, he's talking about the post office address.
Well, we tried.
If it's not Gribbins Lane, if it's not a county road, his address might change or something.
Well,
Is that
but
what
see,
you're talking
the
about?
ambulance has to get out there, if there's a fire out there, they gotta get out there. They're still gonna have access to this road?
Yeah, if I can help you a little bit, part of my property's on the county road. When you come off Highway 208, and you go up between those two brick houses, and you go up Larry toward my basketball goal, all that's a county road. I mean, it never has been closed, but it's, you know, I've been used for 50 years, but I've had fires, and I had an ambulance come out twice to get me last year, take me to the hospital. There's not a problem, because even though we're back up in the woods, we still have an address of 1890 Highway 208, and any service that needs provided, they can provide it, whether it's a county road or just a private road.
Well, from
They go anywhere.
a 911 standpoint, what you'd have to do is exactly what we do now, which is you could keep the road as Gribbins Road, but it's for 911 purposes, for emergency purposes only from that standpoint.
Yeah,
So,
but they keep the same name, we're just trying to eliminate a problem for you all in the future, and a problem for him and for them. They're having an easement, gives them almost a greater right to it, because they actually have an easement across the property. I'm talking about the Rowlands.
Mr. Adel, you want?
Well, I think it's something we gotta think about. I don't think we should make a decision at this meeting, but,
Well, we need you to give your report, Mr.
Yeah,
Adel.
we're-
You need
Well, I
to
think-
give your report
If I
of
may-
what you saw out there for the
Well-
record.
Now, hold on, if he.
I mean, he's gonna need to give a report though.
Yeah, I know, but if we
You
need to.
can question him.
If we need to come back, and if he needs to do some more work, maybe to look at his report, maybe and take some of the things he's heard tonight, he'll have a right if he wants to
well,
change it.
I think, yeah, what we're looking for though is just for his initial report on what he read, so we've got to do that as part of the procedure, so. Mr. Adler, all we need you to do is read your report.
Or
So,
what you found.
Or what you found.
If you want to look at something supplemental, then we
Yes.
need you to make your initial report.
see whether it's illegal, whether the state believes that the road, we got roads out there now where there's maybe one house way at the end of it, but gradually over the years, more houses get built in there. And would the county give up a road just because there's only one house today and not tomorrow?
no, that's a legal issue.
You can't have a road just go to one house and let it be for his use only. It has to be something for the general public. That's the law that's been on the books for years.
Are you going to read your report, or you want me to read it?
Why don't you read it for him, Judge, if you don't mind?
I got it here somewhere.
All right.
You can use mine if you need to.
There you go.
You want me to read it or you want to read it?
Go ahead, Judge.
In March 1983, the estate of Felix Gribbins was conveyed to Tom Tucker. However, .77 acres of the estate was excluded. The .77 acres is located at 800 Gribbins Lane and consists of a house and a barn. The estate gave the .77 acres to John W. Purdom instead of Perman, which is what you've got. It's not Mr. Perman, it's Mr. Purdom. They in turn sold it to Deborah Jean and Greg Riley, along with a 2-acre easement from Gribbins Lane. Tom Thornton Tucker got the Rileys to sign an extinguishment of the easement to Gribbins Lane in return for a water line easement to the Marion County Water District, which would serve the .77 acres. Gribbins Lane is currently a county road which allows the owners of the property at 800 Gribbins Lane legal access to the property. If Gribbins Lane is vacated, the present owners or any future owners would not have a legal access, and it's doubtful they could ever sell it or get any mortgage financing on the property. Even if the Rileys would agree to the vacating of Gribbins Lane, the county should not allow occupancy of a house that doesn't have a legal access to it. Therefore, it is my opinion that Gribbins Lane not be vacated. My friend, Mr. Dudley Adel.
And if I could take exception, there's no question you can hold the property to be mortgaged. I mortgage banks. There's no, in all due respect, as long as they have access by way of an easement, there's not a problem. You can sell it, you can mortgage, do whatever you want to do with it.
Well, that's key.
The thing of it is, the letter points out a private inconvenience rather than a public inconvenience, and that's not what the law is. You know, there's no factual basis from, like a letter from a banker saying, we can't give a mortgage, that's just an opinion. There's got to be a factual basis to support it. But what I'm trying to say, and I think what you can get clean from that letter, is Mr. Tucker gave them a water easement for water purposes to their house. You know, when his wife needs a paint job, sometimes he'll call Greg. He doesn't have any intention to hurt anybody.
We're going to hear from one more viewer, Mr. Gary Luce, and then we'll Greg.
All right. Those who don't know me, my name is Gary Luce. I've been in this county since '94. If you have a standard, you've suffered me many years for emergency services. And I am currently with WBM. I went out there with the judge last week, wasn't it?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've been sick. So, anyways, I don't have nothing typed up because one, I am shaking so bad I cannot do anything on my computer. Two, my printer cracked out, so I gotta buy me a new one. So if this will be continuing on, I understand. I will get something typed up officially. But there's a couple points that need to be seriously addressed. And I'd like to tap you guys for your knowledge and for Mr. George, your legal advice. Now, you made a statement that in order for him to be compliant, he might have to establish a fencing to keep animals in the boundaries. You also stated on that it might have to be pushed back wider than the road to accommodate the large farm apparatus to get in and out. Okay, now here's my question for you guys especially, is on that cattle crossing, how wide is it and how long is it? Do you have the measurements?
It's about 4'10", but that's only if the cattle guard comes out where we have to do those things. If it stays like it is, you know, if the road is discontinued, then the cattle guard will stay in here.
No, that's not a problem.
And it's about 4'10".
Well, the reason I'm asking is, do you guys have a car that goes in and out?
Yes.
You have a car that goes in and out. Because the problem I noticed when I went back there with the judge is that the drop-off from the pavement that is currently deemed as a county road to the bottom of the cattle crossing is about 7, 8 inches fall.
Okay, let me say this. We will agree, and you can put it in your documents, if you give us a deed and give the Rileys an easement, we'll put a new modern cattle guard in and make everything flush, or it won't be a problem. The new cattle guards are built a lot different. I think this one's probably been out there 50, 60 years. And we'll totally modernize it, and you can make that a stipulation. And that, actually, to make it better for the Rileys, if, once we do that, and it won't be in drop-off. Is that suits you?
We're getting there. Now, if I continue,
Take your time.
I am. I just want to have so much. The drop-off is significant. That if they had a car, I would be amazed, because right now, been with an ambulance for over 35 years. I think I can say a couple things about them with confidence. Right now, we do not have a county vehicle that will go back there because of that drop. It will hit part of the air brakes and it'll take out the air chains, which is going to rupture the suspension. An emergency vehicle cannot get back there unless it's a pickup truck.
Well, all due respect, they've agreed that if we move forward, either way, it's either coming out or they're gonna fix it. So let's move forward for the sake of time, save you some energy.
Yes, I'm just bringing this up
Yeah.
as an advocate for the county to make sure that any road is accessible for emergency services for protection of life and property.
Do you have a?
So,
Yeah.
that's why I'm rereading it now, not being redundant, but I want to state the general purpose, that it needs to be done so it can accommodate. Bringing the cattle guard was going to be my suggestion, to bring it up to current specs. I don't have a poker in the fire on this one. Listening to what I hear, I can hear that by the public. It sounds like it's going to be more of a, in my opinion, I would say, it will probably go over to the individual parties. And it's me just listening to what I hear on legality. What happens afterwards, I don't know. I'm just giving my perspective of what I saw. Road was solid. Road might need to be widened out, because I don't think the trucks will fit on it, because I just barely fit on it with my truck. But the cattle crossing needs to be addressed, and the cattle clearing, I got to see, if it's 10 foot, great, we can get in there. But if it's anything under 10 foot, I would stipulate nothing shorter than 10 foot wide, because all our vehicles are just 100 inches wide. And you know, anybody's driving in there, they're not going to be dead center. So we need a few inches leeway. I will ascertain any questions from you guys, if you like.
Obviously, if we take care of that like I said we would, I'd say we can
Thank you, Gary.
I know the Rileys would like to say something. I think they're next. Greg?
Well, Greg and I have lived there for 20 years. We want the road to remain a county road so that we have easy access to and from our home. And we believe that if it is no longer a county road, that it will become very difficult for us to get to and from our home. And that's basically it.
As far as the easement went for our water rights, the county had to was going to condemn the rights to get the county water back there, because Mr. Tucker would not let us have county water back into that.
And we gave up one easement, not the one that came
Directly up.
from Gribbons Lane. The first, there was another easement that went all the way up, around the barn, and through his field. We had, those two easements.
Because at a given time, we couldn't even pull a trailer or anything behind a vehicle with a load of firewood behind our vehicle to get up to our home through the easement that we have coming up. So we'd have to use the easement to come up to the top of our property and come around to get in with concrete trucks or et cetera. on that other easement that we are going to turn back over to Mr. Tucker if anything ever happens to us and we sell the place.
Where's the water line run? I mean, the road,
Look on that sheet I gave you.
which one? You gave me a whole lot of paper here.
Yeah. Water line runs up that road.
So how far off the side of the road is it?
Water line runs up through here, up to Grady's home.
So probably what, 4 feet off the side of the road, something like that? Yeah, okay. I was just curious.
That's it. You can put in the, put the bird on the Tuckers to maintain that road too, with the conditions at this time.
What about the cattle actually running freely on the road? I know that's been a concern. We had a school bus hit one of our cows one time. I had to pay for the front of a school bus. I keep my cattle fence, I put up new fence, not meaning anything by it, but I keep my cattle fenced in. I don't think cattle should be running freely across a county road
Well, here's a problem.
if we keep it county.
Craig, the county keeps it, I understand, but let me tell you where the problem came in. The county, years ago, should have never established rivers. Like what y'all did, I said repeatedly, you inherited a problem.
We inherited.
Probably established 75 years ago. Tom remembers riding the bus almost 70 years ago, and the cattle guard was there, or there was a cattle guard there. But here's the thing, when Mr. Grimmons owned it, he was the only one back there. So he had a cattle guard up, when you come right after you go over the bridge to get onto the property, and he had his cattle would graze out there. And that's been that way since Tom had it in '83. Cattle graze there a while, then they'll go to another full pasture field and graze. But it's been like that for 100 years probably.
When the property was sold, if I could add, when the property was sold in '83, the announcement at the time of the sale had to do with that cattle guard and a county road through there, and it was stated that that cattle guard was part of the premises and was part of the project you were buying. I remember distinctly they talked about the cattle guard being the entrance
Who
into
made
the
that
property.
statement? Who made that statement? The real estate people?
The real estate people.
Well,
The problem we see in the county, I get calls every single day, a lot of the private roads that have maintenance agreements, Mr. Tucker, I mean, I'm not saying we have a nightmare of a time with people not doing what they're supposed to do. And what they do is they call us and say, hey, they won't put gravel on the road, and they'll look at their deed, and there'll be deed restrictions and deed that they've agreed to do these maintenance, and they don't do what they say they're gonna do. So that's the problem I see with the maintenance agreement on the road.
Well,
We've got more problems on private roads than we have. I get more calls from people on private roads than I do actually county roads, and
Well, and you got it out because it's not yours, but, and Craig, you're right, we're not gonna live forever. Tom is a little bit younger than me, but anybody that knows Tom and how he's maintained his farm, roads out there and everything else, he maintains his property first class. That may not last forever, but it won't be your headache. And still, it doesn't serve any of the general public, it serves two people.
part of the, and Judge, you're right, it's always, I know all our years we've been in here, Master Wicker can tell you the same thing, there's always been issues with road agreements. Usually, though, it's a multi-party situation, though, that's where you've got 2 and 3.
True.
And I will say this, know Greg well, done work at my house, damn good work, thank you, sir. And know Mr. Tuck. Yeah, well, I never had his daddy. But no, Mr. Tucker, and I'll agree with you from that standpoint. Obviously, Tom has got one of the finest farm operations in the county. It's a tough situation. You just want to do what's right. You want to try to make, both parties, you're both good people, all right? And we've got a decision to make. But I will say this, and you guys might disagree. If you do, that's fine. But I got to read through this stuff. I mean, I don't see how we can make a decision tonight or make a ruling, because with the information we've been provided, which was your right, and this research that's been done, I think to do due diligence, and with the information that Mr. Gary and Mr. Otter gave me, that we need to review through this and make sure we know exactly what we're doing and exactly what the law is and so forth. Because there's a lot of stipulations here. I mean, we have inherited a lot of things. You're right. We have. But, you know, we can't correct the past. We can learn from it. So what we need to do now is take this information. We understand the Riley's concern and so forth, and I would have that same concern, I understand. But I also know I feel strong Mr. Tucker's willingness to do the right thing. But I think we need to take this and review this and then get back together and see exactly what, you know, where we can go and what we can do. 'Cause I just don't, I mean, we can make a decision tonight, but I just think that if you're going to make an educated decision, I think you really need to review all the information, because in fact, the honest truth.
My position is that I couldn't get involved with the other legality of it because that's not my job. My job is to look at it, and I look at it, and I think it should stay open.
Yeah. Well,
You agree there's only 2 landowners out there?
Don't you want?
2 landowners out there.
Right.
And you agree that there's no place for the public to ride and go to or anything like that? For general public.
I don't think the public want to go back anywhere. That's not the point.
That's the point.
If you have a house back there, they have to have access to it.
Yeah, but what you're saying, you don't see why the public would want to go back there, right? That's what you're saying? That's the whole purpose, that's what you're trying to
yeah.
say?
Here's the bottom line is that, I don't know about you guys, and you guys might have been involved in this intensely. I know, Judge, you have, but the fact is, this is the first time I've had the opportunity to speak to you guys together here and see what your thoughts are. This is the first time I've got this information. Again, you do what you want. Personally, I think we need to take this back, consider the reports we got, review the information, and then have a discuss, you know, develop a date to have a discussion to resolve this issue. But I think if you do it, personally, I don't feel comfortable making a decision at this point. That's just my point. So I think it needs some research.
Well, I think if all this information, if we needed to look at it, we should have had it before instead of right today.
Right.
And I don't believe we should close any road. You got one guy wanting to close it, the other guy living there wants to keep it open. So the guy living there, if he wants to close it and he wants to work a deal out, that'd be great. If they want, then maybe we might could close it then. But it's a county road. It's always been a county road. And just to close it, just because we know what the issue is, it's not about closing the road, it's about the cattle guard. That's the whole issue.
And that's a very valid point.
Everybody else fences cattle. I mean, I'm sure you got a lot of fencing, but they don't necessarily put a 5-inch woven wire fence with barbed wire on it. They might put barbed wires or electric fence, but
or whatever, but it is expensive.
but to close you're wanting to close, and I can see you wanting to close, but they live there. And the road.
Access to get in and out, just like they are now, they have to go across an easement, get to their own home. They'll still have an eastment, and the bottom line is, I say this respectfully, you can't just have a county road. If it was a county road and done for the wrong reason or whatever, you can't have it to serve private individuals. As he said, the public wouldn't want to go back there. You have to have a road.
You don't know that they would. You wouldn't want to go back there, but I know people that go back roads like that all the time. But he recommended to keep it open. He recommended.
He did it on an individual basis. He did
So that
it
makes us have to
because
abandon
he
all
said
these
they
other
could
roads.
mortgage or sell a house. You can't do it for that reason. And
Not
there
for
was
that
no
reason.
factual basis to back him up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that.
We're always gonna be spending taxpayers' dollars. I mean, it's up to you all.
I think, Master Wicker, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, as far as the cattle guards, we didn't vote to take one particular cattle guard. We voted to take that over the entire county. I think Mr. Bishop said a couple.
I've got a couple in my district as well.
It was a liability issue. Somebody breaks a leg, get in there and down to the court and it's done.
Well, like he was saying, the ambulance right now, I don't know about the other ones, a big truck, ambulance, they don't go in rivers, and there's certain places they won't go. So no matter what, it's an issue that didn't used to exist because we didn't have ambulances back 100 years ago when it was done. But
Here's the bottom line to me, and I'm sure I'm wrong. I've been there many times. But the bottom line is that's why we have a county attorney from a legal standpoint. That's why Mr. Tucker has the bottom line is that, to me, it's an issue of law, okay? It's an issue of law. If the law says that to take it out, or you should close the road or whatever, that's what the law says, okay? That's what we're here to do, is to abide by the law. Whether I feel personally, whether Greg and I are best buddies in the world, or Mr. Tucker and I are best buddies in the world, it don't matter. It's about the law. It's about what's right, black and white, what's the law. If it says that cattle guard has been there for 70 years and it's grandfathered in, or it was petitioned, whatever, you know, and I understand the liability. I don't know, I'm not that smart, okay? But there's somebody out there it is. So to me, it's about the law, what's right and what's wrong. I will say this, I do agree, and it's tough for me to say it, but I do agree with Mr. George that you brought some valuable points in regards to a road, okay, for public purpose. The fact is, we all know there have been roads built in this county for years, before this court got here, okay?
Since '88.
Back in the day, there were roads built that should have never been built. We have roads that lead to one house. We have a lot of them out here. Should have never been built. Now, just because they were doesn't make it right now, okay? All I'm saying is that I think the high road for this court is to do what is legally correct. No matter how we feel personally, you know, it's what's legally correct, what's right and wrong. So that's why I need to hold off, is because I want to understand from our county attorney. I want to review the material. I want to know what is legally right. That's all I want to know. If I do that, I think as myself, I've done the right thing. I'm not looking to side with anybody. I'm just looking to do the right thing by the law. So that's about it.
I'd like to take the time to read what I submitted. I mean, I'd like to take the time to read that, particularly the Attorney General's opinion. They talked about roads being in use in these other counties for years, but they had to close them.
I'm sure we could find some articles that say, I'm sure that you could find some articles that maybe says different. You know, you researched for your side of the argument, and that's good.
Let me tell you what I did. I went down through the statute, I looked at the commentaries, and I found them, and I shepherdized the case. I had Joe Keith to go in and make sure it was still good law, and it's still good law.
Don't you agree?
What I gave you is what is still the law in Kentucky. And you can ask my law clerk, he spent a good part of yesterday and part of today doing this, double checking everything I've submitted to make sure that what I gave you tonight is the standing law in Kentucky, and it is. And it's been, one case goes all the way back to 1950, I think, that if it's not for a public purpose, then you have to close it. You can't have roads to serve one or two people. We've got a lot.
Serve one or two people. Are we gonna close them all, is what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
Are we gonna go close them all? Because it would be the same thing, that's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, the point is taxpayers' dollars keeping up the road going to somebody's home.
Well,
It's not right.
they're taxpayers, they
Yeah,
live
let me-
back
let
there.
me-
Agree to maintain it there.
Let me ask this, I mean, Ms. Stanley Martin, as a county attorney, would you agree that we need to review this information? I'd like, and I personally, I would like for you to review as county attorney.
Yeah, I just got this about 3:30. Well, Mr. George called me about 2:30 or 3, and I only got it about 3:30. I didn't have time to review it myself.
So let me ask you,
You need to review, you're our attorney.
I did not have a chance
Correct.
to review it before. He told me he was going to give me something, so I did not have a chance to review it before.
well, because here's the deal. We know what's gonna happen. I mean, we need the information, we can do what's right, number one. If certain parties disagree with it, then they're gonna appeal that or whatever might happen, okay? But let's at least, when we make that step, let's at least base our step on facts of the law. If we base our step on facts of law, then we're good. So, if you could review that and then come back to advise us, I think that would be,
Next month, we'll come back and make a decision then.
Well, it might be longer than that.
well, it depends on,
what,
yeah.
I mean, we've been this long, getting this far.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah, I think it's just been going on for how long, Mr. Tucker? Long time.
too long, that's
Long
a
time,
good
so,
answer.
you know.
Yeah, motion to have the county attorney review the information presented this evening, and to report back to the court in regards to matters of factual law, within the next
Yes,
24 hours? 30 days?
30 days to be free.
All right. Motion.
Second.
Mr. Elder?
Yes.
Mr. Caldwell?
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Kirkland?
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right.
Need motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the, hey, Judge, motion to adjourn and leave the special called meeting?
Oh, yeah, second.
Yes.
Yes,
Vogel? Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Kirkland?
for the hearing.
Motion to reconvene the regular called meeting?
Second.
Yeah.
Mr. Elder?
Yes.
Vogel? Mr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Mr. Bishop? Mr. Kirkland?
Yes. Now, the best one. If anybody's got anything else, there you go.
Look.